Hello and welcome to Twisted Britain, a podcast on true crime in Britain with a sprinkling of the weird and the macabre. And your host is me, Bob Dale. And now normally I would be recording in the Settle Inn, but since we're all on lockdown, I am recording in our spare room at home, which is a bit of an odd scenario because I can see out the window that if anybody goes into their garden across the way, they're going to be like, who's that weird guy running pirate radio? In fact, actually, I'm all right with that. I would have loved to have run pirate radio. That would have been pretty cool. Wear an eye patch and all shit. Anyway, I'm blathering on already. So as most of you will all know, there's a wee beastie out there trying to infect us all. And the big downside of that is, all the pubs are closed. I can only actually see two possible outcomes from this. There's either going to be a baby boom in 9 months' time or a massive spike in divorce and murder. But either way, the latter is future content for Twisted Britain. Now, in all seriousness, I hope everybody listening is safe and sound and keeping their family safe indoors and remembering to wash your hands. I don't understand why this is news to people. Why the fuck wasn't everybody washing their hands anyway? If there's anything I have learned, it's that, people are filthy. I was told the other day not the other day, sadly, over a week ago now, since we were in the pub, that it's the most amount of hand wash the pub's ever gone through, to the point where actually they weren't replacing them. The one in the men's toilet, I'm going to add men's toilet to this, very often, and it became a shock when they had to replace it every couple of weeks. And I'm like, one soap for a couple of weeks in a men's public toilet? Well, that's bogging anyway. So, everybody do their best. Stay inside as much as you can. Only essential trips outside and keep your hands washed. It's nice and easy. I hope by bringing you an episode today, it leaves a bit of the boredom in the house, and I hope I can do that a little bit for you. I have a plan, hopefully, to release one every week for the foreseeable future until we're all off lockdown, let down. Every second week will be my new normal Twisted Britain challenge, and the weeks in between I'll do a wee short one of something that I've seen that I wanted to record, so that there's something coming out every week. If there's something specific that you want to hear about, drop me a line. You know where you can find me on all the social media channels, and I will do my best to cover something that keeps everybody entertained. I'll tell you about wee bits and pieces I'm going to do on social media later on in the episode towards the end, and I'd like everybody to kind of chip in and get involved, and maybe just alleviate a bit of the boredom. That'd be cool. I am going to obviously be recording in the house because Leslie hasn't given me a key to the pub as of yet, and Twisted Britain is not classified as an essential service. So I will do my best to try and get Rosalind to play some dominoes in the background, or maybe, randomly put the jukebox on every now and again. Or, in fact, if you can hear her tonight, she's singing Elegies, which is a musical. She's doing a wee thing for one of our local theatre companies. They're doing some challenges for people, so Rosalind's helping out with that. So if you hear that in the background, that's what that is. So anyway, on with this week. So this week's challenge has been set by the amazing Kate from Ignorance Was Bliss. And in her own words, it's a podcast about how we become who we are, which I quite like as a tagline. It's pretty good. Kate's a really freaking amazing podcaster, and our show tries to answer questions that we all have when we're listening to true crime podcasts. She says herself in her blog on her website that she used to sit on the couch listening to true crime podcasts, listen to people going, oh, and I don't know how that happened, or what the fuck does that mean? And she decided she'd had enough of that. And she's in the perfect position to answer those questions. She's got a background in mental health and criminal justice, and is a much better place to answer those questions than I am. So if you've got if you're a fan of true crime podcasts, and I would imagine you are if you're listening to this, go and give Ignorance Was Bliss a listen. It is superb, and Kate has not only been nominated for awards in the past, but she's an incredible person, and I'm really happy she's done this for me. So before we get stuck into what Kate has asked as a challenge, we'll obviously have a catch up with last week's challenger, Raymond from 5 and 30 with Ruck. For those of you who missed last week's episode, first off, what are you doing? Everybody's got plenty of time on their hands at the moment, so go and listen now and come back. I'll give you a second. All right, thank you. Welcome back. And those of you who have already listened to it, which is everyone now, a wee reminder that the challenge was spies. So this was the chat I had with Raymond during the week. Well, hello. Are we going with Ruckland or are we going with Raymond? What are we Sunday names today, or is it?
Whichever name we prefer. I mean, Ruckland is okay. I prefer Raymond.
Oh, well, Raymond it is then. So,
perfect.
How are you? You all right?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man. This chat has been a long time in the post, it feels. Not even just because you did the wonderful challenge for me for Twisted Britain, but because actually we should have probably had a chat by now anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's been over a year since I met you.
Yeah, totally.
Online.
Yeah, which is a weird thing. You tell loads of people not to meet strangers online, and I've met a lot of them, but they all seem all right so far.
Either that, or they're just really strange, and you haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, either that, or I'm strange as well, and I have not realised that yet. Maybe I just fit into the group perfectly.
Exactly.
So you did me the honour of setting me the challenge for Twisted Britain last week.
Yes, and that was awesome.
Thank you very much. So for anybody listening who doesn't know who Raymond is, Raymond presents 5 and 30 with Ruck, which is a really cool concept podcast. I really like it. Basically, you ask 5 questions submitted from here, there, and everywhere to other podcasters, and then they get 30 seconds to plug whatever they want. Is that about right?
That pretty much sums it up in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept. You've not done it. You've not been doing it that long either, have you?
No, started the first week of January this year.
Yeah, that's what happens. You've been hanging around with too many podcasters on Discord and just decided you had to do one yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I went all of last year with people going, "Oh, you should have a podcast," and I was like, "No," and then all of a sudden, I have a podcast.
Yeah, before you blink, you'll be at 50 episodes, and you'll not know what you did before you did this. So don't worry about it. It'll just, and then you'll continue to make it up as you go along.
Right.
Which is pretty much what I'm doing just now. So thanks for being part of this, making it up. That's good of you.
Oh, it's an honor to be a part of this. I've been excited to do this for a while.
So you are, in my opinion, probably one of the biggest supporters of independent podcasts on the internet. You and Zach must be, championing the lead of that. So I thank you from me, not just for for doing the challenge, but for constantly promoting not just Twisted Britain, but loads of other cool podcasts that we're have the pleasure of knowing the hosts of remotely as such. I think you do a great job, and it's really good that you spend that much time doing it. So thanks very much, and I mean that from me and from everybody else as well.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that, and you're welcome. Ultimately, that's my big goal, is to promote as many people as I can. I wish I could promote everyone all the time, but now there might be enough hours in the day, but but I just think everyone deserves to be listened to. So that's what I do.
Good man. And if anybody listening hasn't had a chance to check out 5 and 30 with Ruck, give it a go. We are going to record an episode with me as your host, as your guest, just after this. So if you're a listener of Twisted Britain and you want to give 5 and 30 a try, jump on. There's a good half dozen. Where are we at now? 10 episodes out, something like that.
I think I just released episode 8. I don't know. I'm terrible.
There's enough episodes for you to get you hooked. So go and check it out. I'll leave a link in the description of the notes this week again. And if you want to submit Raymond some questions to ask to some podcasters, I'll stick that link in as well. It's in last week's episode description. You'll find it there. I sent you some. I hope you got them, and I believe you've got some cool ones for me. So I look forward to them. However, Spies. Thank you very much for doing Spies.
I had to pick Spies because after you teased and hinted that you had a multi-part series with Spies, I wanted to hear more.
And I thank you for that, because I had this vision in my head where I had researched a story that actually it was one of the ones that I really enjoyed the research and reading about. And I was never going to get to tell. It was just sitting on my laptop going, ha ha ha, look at all this work you did. And I was like, no, now I need to con somebody into like talking about shipping or spies and here you are. And I didn't even ask you. I'd like to make that perfectly clear to anybody listening. I didn't ask you to do that, so thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, no, you didn't have to ask me. I love spies, so it was just kind of like a gimme. And the fact that it happened to be easy for you, well, hey, that works.
Yeah, totally. So Karl Hans Lode was the first man executed in the Tower of London in 138 years, which I find an incredible statement that they decided to make, was to go back to what was almost kind of not medieval, but a very public statement that says, we will use this building to show you how much of a shite we think you are. And he was, only 11 people since him have been executed there. I think that makes a massive statement. And one that I would have imagined probably had some outcome, even if it wasn't some outcome in the war, but morality would have taken an up from that, I would have thought. Raymond?
Yep.
Are you there?
There you are.
I don't know how, I was talking there for a while, so I don't know how much of that you got.
Well, I was hearing it for a while, and then all of a sudden everything just went away.
Oh, well.
I know how you were talking about the importance of someone actually being executed there after so long.
Yes, right. Yeah, I can edit this around this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or I don't, and I just leave in me going, hello, hello. I was just basically kind of saying that if the fact that they used the Tower of London, to me, was probably partly publicity stunt. It was whether it had an outcome in the victory of the war or not is besides the point. I think the point being that the morality of the general public in the United Kingdom would have gone, oh look, they're willing to execute people at the Tower. That means something. Yeah,
I have to agree with you. It really was more of a publicity stunt because there was no reason they had to do it there. But it was showing, hey, we're really serious. Don't spy. Don't commit espionage against the crown.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. The one thing that I think sticks with me throughout all of it is he was a very shit spy.
Oh God, yeah, he was terrible. I mean, I think I could be a better spy just from watching James Bond.
Yeah, probably. I think that was his induction. Was just here's what English people look like. Here's some James Bond. Hop over the sea and do some spying for us.
Yeah.
He had the basics, like his language skills were there, and he travelled the world a bit. He'd been over to America, but it just, I don't know whether passion overran him and he thought he could do something for the fatherland, that he ended up dead and having done nothing really.
Except for try to send stuff through the mail.
Which even I know is a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, half the time your mail doesn't even get delivered, so you're just taking a risk.
Yeah. I think the one thing I did find out after the episode released, and I meant to message you this because see if you could get a hold of some here, is that the brewing family that he tried to marry into was the Storrs brewing family, and apparently it restarted again in 2013. So in America, you can now get the beers he was supposed to be marrying into.
Okay. You're going to have to send me a link to that so I can go find some.
Yeah, you need to send us a photo you drinking it, and we'll slap some Twisted Britain stickers on it or something, because I'd love to see that.
We can do that for sure.
I found the link, so I'll message it in the Discord, and you can go and find yourself some beers. I mean, not that anybody's got anything much to do at the moment, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Go get some beers, take some pictures for Twisted Britain. Sounds like a good day to me.
Yeah, I'm glad you accept that challenge. 2 challenges. We'll need to do another chat again, I suppose.
Oh no, twist my arm.
Well, Raymond, thank you very much again for being part of Twisted Britain. As I said to everybody that's been on so far, I have approached people specifically to start with, for people not only that I knew would help me out, but people that I wanted to be on the show, and you were definitely one of those. Is there anybody that you think I should approach or send a message to and see if they would be on Twisted Britain. And I don't care who you think, like go big or go somebody you know. Who do you think would be a good a challengee for me to approach?
Let me think here. Yeah, someone told you Ladies Are Strange, right?
Yeah, indeed. I need to get onto them.
Barack Obama. I mean, he's got nothing to do right now, right?
He's retired.
Yeah, he's retired. Seriously, how have you not gotten Zach yet?
That's a very good question that I don't have the answer to. I have asked him on several occasions, and at some point I'm just going to have to fly over there, really, aren't I? And just pin him down.
Yeah, just fly over there, pin him down. So, I guess for an easier one, you could get Corey, one of the mods over on the server.
Yeah, I will. Actually, I was going to open it out because I'd started off with shows of people because I wanted to kind of do a bit about expanding other people's listening and stuff like that. But yeah, Corey had said he'd be keen to do one. So yeah, I'll try and stay Discord for a while because the guys in there have been good to us.
I mean, plus he's famous. Just ask me.
Exactly. There you go. If he's famous, it works. Him and Barack.
Right.
Well, cheers, Raymond. Thank you very much for doing this. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you, and we'll get an episode of 5 and 30 done at some point in the next 10 minutes.
In the next 10 minutes, yes. No, thank you for having me on for this. It was my honor.
Thank you very much, and continue being the wonderful person you are and promoting all those podcasts. It means a lot to everybody who produces something. So thank you very much again. And
you're welcome.
I'll catch you very soon.
Okay.
So as you will have heard in there, I had a few technical issues with the way we were recording, and Raymond dropped off a wee bit. I'm going to take some advice from Raymond and start using a new way of recording so that we get nice, clean audio for you. So apologies for that, but it will get better. Like I said to you before, and will say again, I am constantly learning at this. So anyway, a big thanks to Raymond for being a part of this and basically just letting me read out a script I'd already written. So that was good fun. We did also go on to record an episode of 5 and 30 with me answering questions. 5 of them from him to me, and then I did a wee promo. Obviously, for Twisted Britain, I did a promo. But I will have to say that if you want to know what I think Twisted Britain smells like, you'll have to go and listen to that episode. I mean, feel free, everybody, to have a guess on social media what you think Twisted Britain might smell like. It's not a question I get asked often, but ridiculously, I did know the answer quite quickly. So anyway, on to this week's challenge. As I said, it's from Kate from Ignorance Was Bliss, and I will stick a link to all of Kate's social medias and bits and bobs in the episode description for this. So if you want to subscribe to that, which you should do, you can find it there. Here was Kate's challenge.
Hey, this is Kate from Ignorance Was Bliss, and here is my challenge for you. Weird foods. Bizarre culinary choices. Gross eating decisions. I'm not necessarily saying weird to the point of Sawney Bean, but if that's where your heart leads you, I don't judge.
Weird foods. I kind of thought that was going to be a nice, easy one. Not take too long to find a story, but here I am the week that the episode comes out, and I've only really just something I've wanted to cover, and pretty much anybody who looks through my search history is either going to think I have got coronavirus or that I've had a really bad case of food poisoning this week. Sadly, I had already covered Sawney Bean, which is a weird and strange culinary decisions that he made with his family in a cave in Ayrshire. And if you want to listen to that, go back through our history and just look for the episode on Sawney Bean. It's a wonderful story. And you can come back to me whether you think it's a real story or a bit of a folklore. So the story I found this week is possibly the most kind of tenuous link yet to a challenge. It's a story I found by basically just looking for people who'd poisoned using food. I had to have royalty. You always hear about royalty, having people tasting their food before they eat it and things like that. I thought there must be a food poisoning case that you can find. But actually, the one I came across was a story that I thought, you know what, this was really cool. I want to tell this story. It does include food, and it's a bit of an odd sprinkling, shall we say, which we like in Twisted Britain. We like a sprinkling of weird, so that's fine with us. So this is the story of a fairly infamous witch by the name of Mary Bateman. She was also known as the Yorkshire Witch. She was tried and executed in the early 19th century. She was born Mary Harker in Ainsby in North Yorkshire in 1768 to a farming family. And as many of our stories begin, she became a petty thief and a bit of a bad apple, shall we say. She was working as a servant girl and decided she was just going to steal from her employers. It wasn't just her employers she was stealing from, however, and pretty much anyone. And she also gained a bit of a reputation as a con artist, and all this before her 18th birthday. She soon lost her job and gained a reputation for being a bit of a dishonest young lady, so she struggled to find work at all. So in response to this, she decided to expand her horizons and move to the big city, well, Leeds, which, to be fair, at the turn of the 1800s was a very, very much a growing city and had seen a boom in population due to the Industrial Revolution. Here she managed to find work as a seamstress, and for those of you who are Terry Pratchett's fans, I don't mean that kind of seamstress, just a regular old seamstress. But she also set up a rather lucrative sideline in all things witchy, which she would tell fortunes, brew love potions, remove evil from people. And now, bearing in mind that from a young age, she had been rather good at con artistry, I don't for a minute believe that she thought any of this was real. It was more of a way to get money out of people. In the 1870s, at some point, she met a man by the name of John Bateman, and having known him for only 3 weeks, they married. Now, here I speculate again, but either John believed all of her nonsense, or he just took it as it was, basically a way to make money out of people. The pair had 4 children together, but this is kind of where the wholesomeness, if you can call conning people out of money wholesome, well, it all stops here. Mary couldn't give up her thieving ways, and John was a bit of an honest man working hard as a wheelwright. And yes, I did look up what a wheelwright was, and it's exactly what it is. He was a man who made wheels. But he was also a man who clearly loved Mary, and to stop her getting caught, they moved a lot. Mary carried on with her fortune telling and her potion making, and they seemed to be doing quite well out of it. At around the turn of the 1800s, Mary managed to carry off a rather big con, where she was acting as an agent for Mrs. Moore. Now, Mrs. Moore was supposed to be the 7th child of a 7th child, and as such, she would have supernatural powers and could keep people who employed her services safe from everything from, money lenders to evil spirits. But, she couldn't because, she was completely made up. As was another one of Mary's oracles, Mrs. Blythe. Now, she was a psychic, one of your, normal, straight down the road psychics who was able to read the future for people. Mary would take people's details and, of course, a small fee, and seek their future from Mrs. Blythe, made up, and return to the people with whatever nonsense, basically, she could concoct. Now, you think that would be enough for her, but no, it wasn't. And soon she got embroiled in something rather more sinister. We will get to food. A couple by the name of William and Rebecca Perigo approached Mary, having heard of her oracle, and wanted some help. Rebecca had a nervous disorder and believed she had a problem in her side that originated from an evil wish. Of course, Mary agreed that Mrs. Blythe could help them, for a fee. So when Mary returned with the first set of instructions from Mrs. Blythe, the Perigos did exactly what they were told. What they were told to do was to sew 4 bags containing a guinea note and some gold coins in each into the corners of Rebecca's bed sheets. But obviously, in exchange, they had to give back guinea notes. The bags were to be kept sewn for 18 months. William was instructed to visit with Mary regularly to receive further instructions. The second set of instructions were handed to William in a letter explaining that he should nail 2 horseshoes to the door, then burn the letter. The instructions got weirder and weirder, including sending Mrs. Blythe a new bed and bed sheets, money to buy special cheese, and also some china and some tea. However, one thing always stayed the same. The last instruction was to burn the letter. Now, this went on for a while until Mrs. Blythe, Mary, had extorted a small fortune out of the poor couple, and they received a letter reading, "My dear friends, I'm sorry to tell you that you will take an illness in the next month of May. Either one or both, but I think both. But the works of God must have its course." Now, I've not read that very well, but basically what it was a letter saying, you're both going to get really, really ill in May, and it'll be either one of you or both of you, but, well, it's just what happens. So the Perigos, being a bit under her spell, when they read the letter, they panicked. But of course, Mrs. Blythe, she could help, as long as they did what they were told. Now they were to take a special powder that Mary would supply to them and sprinkle it over a pudding, which would be eaten with a special honey, also provided by Mary. This was to be taken for 6 days, and that would cure them. The letter described that only the right amount of pudding for the 2 of them should be prepared daily, and that once prepared with the medicine, no one else should have any. It also lined that if either of them were to become ill despite the medicine, that they should not contact the doctor, and he would be unable to help them. And of course, now burn the letter. On the 11th of May, the Perigos set about their diet of magical food, and well, surprise, surprise, they both fell really ill. Pretty much straight away. Rebecca became a lot more unwell than William. William later said that the effects of this pudding would be a violent heat came out of his mouth, which was very sore, that his lips were black, and that he had a most violent pain in his head 20 times worse than that of a common headache, and that everything to him appeared green. The 6-day magical diet passes and the 2 of them are incredibly ill. And then, about a week later, Rebecca sadly passes away. And I would say probably 7 days of fucking agony, I'd imagine. William survives the ordeal, and despite his wife's death, still believed that he had been saved by the powder that Mary had brought him. And the fact that that fact is kind of borne out by the fact that he continued to take things brought to him by Mary. And I'm going to go with blind faith, maybe a bit of brainwashing. Anyway, this blind faith lasted until William decided to check the bags that were still sewn into the bed sheets. Now, remember, they were supposed to stay there for 18 months, so they would have, of course, contained the guinea note and the gold coins, right? Well, no. There was a bit of rotten cabbage leaves and some copper coins in there. He had been done, and in fact, not just duped, but his wife had been killed in this scam. So William decided he would get her. So he arranged another meeting with Mary, under the pretense of getting another bottle of medicine for her. This time, however, he took a friend. His friend was Constable Driffield. Now, Mary turned up at this meeting with a bottle containing oatmeal and arsenic, which is such a beautiful cocktail. But when she spotted the police, she tried to make out that William had brought her the bottle the night before, claiming that her husband was unwell in bed after what he'd given her. But Constable Driffield decided to just shush her and arrest her for nonsense. They'd searched her house and found loads of the Perigos' belongings. All the stuff that was basically supposed to be taken to Mrs. Blythe. Mary was taken for trial and she was confronted by scores of witnesses testifying against her, telling tales of extortion. And when they looked up the handwriting of Mary's, comparing it to Mrs. Blythe's, it'll not come as a shock to you to know that they were the same. It'll also not come as a shock to you that maybe William didn't burn all of the letters. And that's where they managed to compare the handwriting. She was obviously found guilty of murder and was handed a death sentence. After sentencing, however, Mary claimed that she was pregnant, which would have postponed the sentence, if not, well, stopped the sentence entirely. But following an examination, which we've covered before, and I'm not sure what that entails, but I'm going to leave that to the best of your imaginations. Either way, she was found not to be pregnant. On March 20th, 1809, Mary Bateman was sent to the hangman's noose. A crowd of thousands turned out to see the Yorkshire witch hanged. She is said to have died with a lie on her lips, denying murder to the last breath. I like that, a lie on her lips. That's good. And also not my words, might I say, somebody else's. Her body was taken down and sent for public display in a local hospital, where people could pay 3p to see her body. And strips of her tanned skin were sold as souvenirs. Ugh. But don't worry, they raised £30 for the hospital. So it's all good in the end. And that's basically the story of Mary Bateman. But I will tell you one story of one of her other cons, because when I read it, I couldn't help but laugh. This is the story of the Prophet Hen of Leeds. In 1806, around about the same time she met the Perigos, Mary had tried her hand at some, predicting of the end of the world. The end is nigh, and all that kind of stuff. But instead of going down, the A board over your chest and shouting in the streets, she went with what all good fortune tellers would do. She had a hen that laid eggs that on the side of it said, "Christ is coming." Now, if that was true, hands down, I'd be a believer. I'd turn myself over to Jesus. But the truth of it is more mental than Christ was coming. She had actually taken the eggs and written on them with an acid, I think it was a vinegar, and then just popped them back in the hen. No, that's right, you heard me. Not just in the nest, right back up inside the hen, so that they would be freshly laid. Poor fucking hen. Anyway, I couldn't help but tell you that one. That was just when I was doing my research. That was a wee story that I came across. But it kind of shows you how, batshit crazy she was. So that is the story of the Yorkshire witch. And what a horrible bitch she was. In fact, I'm going to say that she might be the first female that makes our horrible bastard list. And I might even just put in an asterisk at the end to put horrible bitch on for it. I hope you enjoyed that story. And thank you, Kate, very much for the challenge. And I hope that a pudding sprinkled in poison covers it for you. All I have left to say to everybody is thank you very much for listening. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed Twisted Britain, please do rate and subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. We are on... We are on all the major channels, and if there's somewhere you can't find us, please do let me know. If you'd like to hit us up on social media, you can find us everywhere you go, just by searching Twisted Britain, essentially Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. There's also the discussion group on Facebook, which you'll find by just searching Twisted Britain discussion group. Back to what I was saying earlier about a bit of light-hearted fun. We're going to try and have a post, an interactive post on the Twisted Britain discussion group. If not every night, every other night, so that try and get loads of people involved and chatting and doing something, all either true crime or macabre related or related to Twisted Britain in some kind of way. It's a fun, safe zone, and everybody come along and join in. It's a great place. So I'd like to just finish off with a wash your hands and a thank you, love you, bye. See you next time.